Kia ora koutou, nau mai haere mai, and welcome to Frogs on Friday on a bit of a rainy, dreary day. On today's show for Mahi Media, we're talking about the winners and losers for pay offers in 2024. As always, we'll go through some of the hot jobs across New Zealand, Australia, and the UK. And I'm joined today by Shavneel Narayan to discuss how to register for our upcoming Working Holiday webinar. I did think when he was coming onto the show, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he's going to be rocking the same frog shirt on a Friday as I am. Promise we didn't coordinate these efforts, but yeah, love to hear your comments on who wore it better. So we'll see how those results pan out. And as always, we will finish off with our social media poll results. So let's jump straight into Mahi Media. Okay, so it has been a bit of a mixed bag in terms of government pay offers this week. So I thought I'd start with the bad news so that I can finish on a high. So police have rejected what they have described as an insulting pay offer, and they're also considering industrial action. So after a year of negotiations, the offer is considered worse than the offer from the previous government that was rejected back in September last year. So seems like they're going backwards rather than making progress on that issue. So of course, this is a huge blow to police, affecting their ability to attract and retain people to the force, especially at a time when people, of course, are still dealing with the cost of living crisis. But in regards to the police, Australia is aggressively targeting Kiwi cops to go walk the beat across the ditch. Okay, there's the bad news, but on the positive side, so I was so thrilled to see the headlines this week that therapists working within the education sector have accepted an equity settlement with the Ministry of Education. And this translates into pay rises of between 10% to 34%, and these are due to come into play in May this year. Now, this was a result of an investigation into gender-based pay discrimination, since the majority of kaimahi or workers within the industry are women. And also Frog Recruitment works with a number of therapists in the education sector, so including speech language therapists and physiotherapists. So I was especially delighted to hear that their hard work and value to the community has been recognised. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the hot jobs on offer this week. All right, so our first roll up is a temp role of the week, and it's actually Shavneel who's managing this position. So I'll pass over to Shav to tell us some more about the role.
Thanks, Shannon. So yeah, I'm working on a senior payroll specialist at the moment. The things have changed a little bit. It used to be about a 8-week temporary assignment, but now it's moved to a 9-month fixed term role. Just due to the moving parts in the business. We're working with a software company where they are looking for a senior payroll specialist to come in, help with end-to-end payroll processes, but also provide customer support in regards to any remuneration changes or back pay as well. Ideally, they are looking for someone with some, but extensive knowledge on the New Zealand legislative, especially around the Holiday Pays Act and the other payroll legislation as well. They are looking for someone with a bit of paid global experience as well, just so you would be able to hit the ground running, due to the need for this role. The salary for this one is it's a fixed term role, so instead of an hourly rate, now it's around 85 to 90K per annum for this role. If this sounds like an opportunity for yourself, feel free to reach out to myself and we can go from there. Speak soon.
Thanks, Shavneel. And let's take a look at the perm role for the week. Okay, so this one's based in Auckland as well, a membership sales consultant. So salary-wise, we're looking at around between 75 to 85K based on experience. And for this one, definitely need to have that B2B sales experience and, of course, be really strong in relationship building skills. So there's a strong emphasis on being able to both acquire new members for the organisation as well as that account management piece in retaining members in Auckland. If you're interested in this or other sales roles, get in touch with Manish from our Auckland office. Okay, so let's take a look at the roles in the UK and Australia. All right, so we have a permanent role in London or the West Midlands for a private client solicitor. So it looks like they're really focusing in on that legal sector at the moment. There's been a few roles coming up there within that space. So this one's run by the lovely Alia. So get in touch with her if you're interested in this specific role. But just in general, as always, feel free to reach out to our great team based in London if you are planning on making the move. Now let's take a look at the job from Australia.
If you're looking for a diverse range role, then this could be for you. We are currently recruiting for a specialist national firm. They are looking for an experienced legal assistant to join their CBD office full-time. Some of the duties are preparing correspondence, court documents, presentations, and maintaining paper and electronic files. Also, it will be required to be also working across monthly billing. To be considered for this role, it is essential that you have previous experience working as a legal assistant, and also essential that you have proven experience processing monthly billing. But what's in it for you? It's an opportunity to work for a nationally renowned specialist firm, flexibility to work from home, also a highly competitive remuneration package. If that is something that sounds like of interest, please get in touch.
Well, I can't believe it's already that time when we're doing our first webinar again for the year. It seems like this first quarter is definitely sped on past. Thanks for joining us today, Shavneel. So tell us all about what's it about, how can people get involved, what can they expect?
Thanks, Shannon. Great to be here. So the webinar itself is about a lot more around if you are considering to making a move to New Zealand and you're on a working holiday but not sure what to expect or where to start, we're going to tackle into this a bit more in the webinar, which is hosted by our New Zealand temporary consultant team leader, Kirsty Hannigan, as well as myself, Sophia, and Scott. We're all jumping on, giving some tips and tricks around the web, around how to sort of make that move and make that leap into New Zealand market, but also help figure out some key challenges that you might face, as well as when you're ready to settle down, sort of the tips and tricks around that as well. We do look at a bit more into the New Zealand market and the knowledge, job search strategies, CV writing tips, and interview preparation questions, and sort of that cultural adaptation before we go into a bit more of that interactive Q&A session. It is coming up next week, Tuesday on the 19th at 12:30. you can click the to register. Just click the QR code that's going to be shown up on the screen.
Perfect. Excellent. And I think that you mentioned around cultural differences and even sometimes just the process of how recruitment works in a different country. So I remember quite a few years back now when I did my OE over to the UK. It seemed fairly easy at the time. You just walked down the high street and into a recruitment agency and signed up on the spot, and they were pretty keen to get some Kiwis up and running and working. So I kind of presumed that that's how it worked everywhere, but wasn't quite the same kind of pace or process when I went to Australia and then eventually back to NZ. So it'd be really good to have those tips. I'm regretting talking about the rain here and drizzle. I promise we do have some better weather for all those people thinking of making the move over or who have already come, or at least it might be a good ski season coming up through winter as well. All right, and so it sounds like we're running this based out of Auckland, but we've also got other offices and roles around New Zealand as well, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we're also got an office in Wellington, and we are able to support in trying to find opportunities or figuring out how each other markets are doing in New Zealand. So it'll be great to hear from you guys just to see how you can target the New Zealand market, whichever nook and cranny that you're planning to move into, I'll go to.
You might be chasing the sun, so we do work all across New Zealand. So it might be far north or deep south, whatever floats your boat, we can help you out. Thanks so much, Shavneel. As always, if you have any questions, particularly around temp work, feel free to get in touch with Shavneel and the team there. And particularly if you've got any questions about the webinar, first of all, I'd say just sign up and have a look. But if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to Shavneel. Okay, let's move on to the social media polls. Okay, last week we asked if you felt that your workplace was committed to diversity and inclusion. Phew, thank goodness it's a positive result this time. So, oh, no, it's not. I've read it wrong. Oh, this is dreadful. So we had the majority said, no, we're not committed to at all. So I think last week we were celebrating International Women's Day, and it puts a big emphasis on initiatives that are happening. But it seems like for many, there's still a lot of work to do in this space. So again, I'd love to hear your comments. So what's lacking within your organization, or what do you think's missing? Like to see that. As well as be good to have some of the good news stories as well for those who have said they're either very committed or somewhat committed. Okay, let's take a look at the poll for this week. So are you considering moving to New Zealand on a working holiday in the near future? So of course, let's spread the word out there and get this out to our friends across the globe. It's a great place to come to, and we'd love to see you once you get there. Oh, and we've got a sneak extra poll here. I was actually just joking about the who wore it better, but our guy behind the scenes, Jacob, is being quick off the mark there. So we also want to know who wore the frog polo better. The frogs on Friday, Shannon or Shavneel? Well, I hope it's going to be a positive result on that one. Thanks so much for joining us. Love to have you here, and we'll see you next week. See you next time.